Johnson Modern Gods. It's John.
I'm Richard.
Hi, everybody. It is almost summertime. 21st is the first day.
Right. Summer solstice.
How are things in Ohio? Humid?
It is hot. It's going to be in the high 90s for the rest of the week.
This is why you guys come to this comic book podcast, to hear weather talk, not to hear about things like our underrated books of the week, viewer mail, also the 25-year rule where we go back to 1999. But first, our hot book of the week. Richard, you know it, you love it. What is it?
I do love it. The hot book this week is The Watchmen #1 from DC. This is one of those pivotal books in comic book history. I really, really think so. It's the premiere issue of a 12-issue series that explores the dark side of superheroes from a realistic and flawed perspective. This is the specialty of Alan Moore, is digging into these darker aspects of power and how people deal with them. As you know, we're humans and mortals, and we now have these inhuman powers. How do we deal with them?
Packed with first appearances.
Yes, you got Rorschach, Dr. Manhattan, Ozymandias, Silk Spectre, and the Comedian, which is my favorite, and Night Owl.
Why is this a hot book all of a sudden? A big jump in copies sold the past week after the trailer for the animated movie dropped this week, last week rather. Did you see the trailer?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
It's Watchmen. I was like, whoa, okay, let's go.
I saw a still of Dr. Manhattan. That's all I've seen.
It's a short trailer. I'll say that. If you haven't seen it, you know, the power of Google compels you. The most recent sale for a CGC 9.8 was $680. That is right in line with the 12-month average. I will tell you, as somebody who had a complete set of Watchmen 1 through 12 and 9.6, 9.8 shape, raw, I had trouble selling it on my live sale the last couple of times before somebody finally bid at $150.
Yeah, and that's surprising. Well, I shouldn't say surprising. People, this story is very accessible. There are a lot of there are collections of the 12-issue run that you can buy as a graphic novel. So maybe people aren't as hard up to find it to read. As far as collecting it, this is a tough one for high grades because of that square bound spine.
Well, it's not really square bound. This one's stapled and floppy. Unless you're talking about the back cover that's all black,
right? Mm-hmm.
From where the blood's dripping down. You know how it starts at the top, and so issue 1 is a all black, nearly all black back cover, which know we all know our friends in Sarasota love fingerprints.
Yep, I'm thinking of the collection that is square bound. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, all good. That's probably where the majority of people at this point have read it. You know, people that think Soundgarden is something your grandparents listen to.
They made a movie out of this. For those who've been under a rock for quite some time, it was a great movie, a great comic book movie. If you haven't seen it, please do go and see it. It has all the good and the dark parts of the series.
You and I are left of center when it comes to our opinion of Watchmen the movie. We both like it. I know plenty of people have massive problems with it.
The only problem I have with it is how it ends.
Yeah.
I could understand why they made the change, but I don't like it.
Spoilers. All right, let's move to show and tell. We've got some stuff to show and tell. So magic fingers, do your thing. Show and tell, Richard. First, I have a repeat. It's a rerun, summer rerun season. Sorry, everybody, but it's not my book. I got it for Richard this week.
Really?
Yeah, it's Neat Stuff #1 by Peter Baggy. A nice, sharp 9698 uncirculated, unread copy of Neat Stuff #1 from my LCS, who, God bless him, had a stack of them. I got one, showed it off a couple weeks ago, and I said, Richard, do you want one of these? And he's like, yeah. So
yeah,
I have it for you when you're here in a few weeks for San Diego Comic-Con.
Awesome.
Pick it up for me then, because I'm not mailing it.
No, don't.
What is your first piece of show and tell?
Okay, I got to do a Dr. Doom book, so I'm going to do Infamous Iron Man.
Oh, wow.
This is the second print. This is when Marvel was doing second prints with the blue trade dress, so you can tell. You can also look at the UPC. You see it ends with a number 2 there. That means it's a second print of this particular cover. This is when Doctor Doom fills in the role of Iron Man, and you know, why does he? Well, okay. Anyway, it's
I can tell you why. It's right across the top. Brian Michael Bendis. Moving on.
it's an interesting story. I like anything Doctor Doom. This is a low print run, second print. So if you come across this is pretty nice. Reason why this series was kind of infamous was the artificial intelligence that was used in the suit. That wasn't Jarvis. Who was it?
The Extremis? Was it Extremis?
Oh no, it wasn't Extremis. Darn it! Now I can't remember. This is.
This is why you guys come to this
You
podcast.
come here for the accuracy. There was some. I'd have to look it up now. Something along with Ironheart, and I just can't remember what the. Here's a test. Okay, people in the audience, please, if you can remember, and where my memory has shortcomings, please put in the comments about the significance of this.
Put
book.
it on them.
I like it because of the cover and because it's a Doom book.
It's the Sienkiewicz cover, or is that a Maleev cover?
No, it is not Sienkiewicz.
Alex Maleev. They
Yeah.
are. Show that cover again. Can we put Marvel circa 2013, 2014? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Mhm.
Can we put a little more effort into logo design, please? Look at the standard font choices. I'm surprised they didn't use Papyrus for Infamous and Iron Man. I have those in my Adobe Express and my Canva too.
Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty low. I really favor DC's trade dress over most of Marvel's because it does seem to be more creative and less just formulaic. I don't know who they're trying to appeal with the infamous font there, which is right out of an Apple toolkit.
Yeah.
So,
And not only that, the Iron Man logo. It's like look, zero effort. Probably commiserate with the pay that the design got. All right. Number 2. A new comic came out on Wednesday.
oh wow, okay.
Loved it, read it, recommend it. Richard, you'll probably want it too when you next time you order from your mail order place or you go to a shop. Didn't even know this was coming out. Saw it on the shelf. God bless. Hate Revisited, number 1.
Oh wow.
Talking about Peter Baggy. How cool. We get a little update on what's going on with all of our characters. You can see Lisa and everybody on there. Our main protagonist, Buddy, getting wearing a MAGA hat, getting slammed by a Black Lives Matter protester.
Oh, that's awesome. Not necessarily that. It's just that art style that just brings back a lot of memories.
You've got everybody here. You've got Buddy, you've got Lisa, you've got Harold, you got Valerie, you got George, and they're older. It's kind of like Love and Rockets. We pick up where we left off, or not where we left off. We pick up in the present day, and you get to see from Peter Baggy's admittedly libertarian viewpoint. He's very libertarian. What he feels about Seattle during the whole during COVID, during Black Lives Matter. It's friggin' hilarious. Wherever you are on the political spectrum, it's funny. I mean,
Now, is that a one shot or is that?
I believe it's a one shot. I read it. I didn't feel like it was going to be continuing, but let's take a look real quick. It just kind of ends. Yeah, I mean, it goes all the way to the back cover.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there's nothing teasing it. Join us in 2 months or join us in a month. But I haven't. To be fair, I haven't looked at the solicits. Hey, if you know in the chat, why don't you tell us?
If you haven't noticed, we're reaching for engagement. Please.
No, we just want you to do our homework for us. All right, what is your next piece of show and tell?
Well, speaking of politics, again, last time I did a politics book. I've got Amazing Spider-Man 583.
Oh,
4th print with President Obama on the cover.
How many printings?
I don't know. I don't know how many they ended up with, but yeah, this is the fourth.
If you know in the chat.
There's some color differences between the different prints. This happens to be the one that I grabbed. I don't typically go for political comics, but there are some milestones. You know, the president showing up in Spider-Man is, I think, pretty important.
And
So,
there you go. They a little Colbert cover, I think there was around with Stephen Colbert on it.
yeah.
Political, maybe, I don't know. All right, my last piece of show and tell is a little cheesecake, a little beefcake.
Hmm?
If it's both of them and there's bondage, you know it's got to be Mike Grell. And Warlord number 28. You've got all sorts of stuff happening here. I've been reading Warlord. I've never actually read it in order.
Okay.
From first issue special number 8, Warlord number 1, all the way through. I'm about issue 40. This book was nuts. Mike Grell, got to be a much better writer as the 80s progressed. Early Warlord, it is nuts. It's just like situation to situation, issue to issue. No subplots, barely a subplot. Oh, he's looking for his infant son. Oh, he's looking for Tara, his girlfriend. But characters and scenarios change on a whim, what he feels like drawing. There's one main protagonist, Deimos. It's crazy. It's a fun read. I can't put it down, but it is.
Do you think that's why it ran so long? I mean,
yeah, I think he was learning on the job. The art is amazing so far. Vinnie Coletta just comes on where I'm at, so
Okay.
it's taken a big.
Never read it.
If you like sword and sorcery, and you like
sort of Conan, King Conan, things like that.
Exactly. This is it. And it's crazy. If you guys have read Warlord and you know what I'm talking about, let me know if you agree. It's a rollicking good time.
Yeah. Is it as misogynistic as Conan is?
No. Well, sort of. It's Travis Morgan is an Air Force major or colonel pilot, and he has a moral code, but the longer he stays as guitarist, the thinner the lines become. He's really embracing being a bloodthirsty warlord. And it's presented not as in like, oh, I'm losing myself. It's presented in a way of, yeah, this is how he always was and always, was hidden inside of him. And it's okay. It's okay. He's being Travis Morgan.
Okay.
Which, if you're going to live in a savage land of this underworld, you kind of had to be.
Right.
So yeah, Warlord's an interesting book. Besides the beefcake, is just I can't say I'd recommend it.
Mm.
How's that for faint praise?
No, this sounds like a lot of DC from that era. It just didn't engage me as much as Marvel did.
Well, what shocks me is, DC was always known for plot as opposed to long story arcs and art. It was like, this issue has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's tightly plotted, and there's twists and turns, and we're going to give our readers the money's worth when it comes to plot. Not on Warlord. Page 1, I'm walking through the forest. Oh, page 2, I'm being attacked. I have a fight scene for a few pages, and then I defeat them and I walk away. Repeat. So it's interesting. All right, what is your last show and tell book?
My last one is you had a little beefcake. I'm going to have a little cheesecake. Betty and Veronica Spectacular.
Did you see the poll that we ran this week on YouTube community tab? Betty or Veronica?
No, I didn't.
Let me announce. You talk about that book while I go look it up, and I'll tell everybody what the results were.
This there's not a whole lot about this book other than the cover. I mean, they gave up trying to be even a little bit if this cover is all about the bikinis and the outfits, and that's fine. I mean, I think there's two readers to Archie Comics. One are the visually impaired who are reading it for the story, and the other ones just like love the covers. Is this? Yeah, this is Dan DeCarlo cover.
This hot dog is terrible, says Archie. I have to beat them off. Oh, that's a different cover.
Different cover. It's again, the story is I don't know people who actually follow the story of Archie comics anymore, to be honest with you. Besides like Life with Archie or things like that that have some kind of long-term effect on the universe.
Well, they weren't meant to be. They were meant to be disposable for preteens. We'll get to Archie a little bit later. Teaser in another segment. So, in our poll that we ran on the community tab here on YouTube, 86 votes. Betty or Veronica? You want to guess who won?
Oh boy, Veronica.
Veronica did indeed win 73% to
Wow.
27%.
Well, then ultimately that's who Archie picked. So I guess it's accurate from that standpoint. I always like the underdog.
Yeah.
And Betty always seemed to be the underdog. Didn't have the money that Veronica had, and didn't have the influence of the father, things like that. So I always favored her.
Archie's a gold digger. Speaking of digging for gold, why don't you support the show? Become a member here on YouTube for the cost of $2.99 a month. I haven't said in a few weeks, so I get to say it less than a Starbucks. You can get exclusive live member-only streams, which Richard referred to earlier. Last Thursday, he was showing some books that people were kind of like, what? Why do you own that? You get exclusive show and tell episodes on Wednesdays. You get shout outs like this in future videos. Look at my name, Richard.
Nice.
There we go. And you're going to get some convention coverage coming up very soon. We have San Diego Comic-Con, and then Richard and I will be at Neo Comic-Con. A couple other surprises maybe along the way. So if you want to join, it's on YouTube. Click join right next to the subscribe button. If you're on the podcast platform of your choice, you're going to have to come over to YouTube if you want to give us a little love. We certainly appreciate it. And give us enough love by sending us all your comments and all your questions in a segment we call Viewer Mail.
You've got mail.
And I'll start off with a good old friend of ours that we haven't shared with a question or comment from him in a while, and that's Charlie Dog in Australia. Geographics, John? I studied mathematics at school. That would be me making up words on last week's episode. Fun thing I like to do.
Oh, they like our audience calls us out.
Yes. Hey, at least I caught myself. I'm getting older, but I'm not that old yet. My response to a store owner who wanted me to pay to just look at stock would be far harsher than go screw yourself, I assure you. Now, we talked about a bunch of stuff that Charlie's referring to, and one of them was your favorite comic book movie adaptations.
Uh-huh.
Charlie nominates the adaptations of Dr. No from Classics Illustrated UK, reprinted in DC's Showcase number 43, and of course, Doctor Who and the Daleks from Dell. I have that. I have a nice slab of that.
I am a huge Sean Connery fan. I have not seen the Dr. No from Classics Illustrated. I will have to track that down.
It's not drawn to look like Sean Connery. Just heads up. It's just a generic, suave British spy. What is your first piece of viewer mail?
My first piece is from Cliff Woodbury. They should have grade level cases on the market someone can easily open if they love a comic that much. It may not go to a CGC, but I could see a reason someone would want a product like that. And this is this comment is in regards to a conversation we were having about slabs, and some people want to be able to crack their slabs and be able to extract their books. It's not CGC's practice to facilitate that. They make their slabs to protect the integrity of the grade by making it tamper proof. There are people, there are cases out there that are hard shell cases, kind of like CGC cases, that you can put raw books in and be able to protect them along the same lines as the hard shell case that you get with a CGC book. If all you're looking to do is protect the book and are not concerned with a third-party grading of your book, there are a number of different formats to protect the book. It's CGC's main strength is that third party grading, and the case really is just to protect the integrity of that grade, not necessarily its first use is not necessarily to protect the book. It's to keep the book in the same grade and same condition it was when it was graded. That's kind of a roundabout thing. So yeah, if you just want to be able to take a book out, there is a really nice case that has magnets that holds it closed, so you put it up on the wall or in your collection. When you want to read it, you just open the case, take the book out, and read it.
Uh, I you guys have heard me talk about longtime viewers and listeners. The fortresses they
Yeah.
used to sell, they were called comic fortresses, and now they sell for a big premium. And I threw away probably 17 of them when I moved once. These are worthless now. They don't make them anymore, but Cliff, maybe check that out if you want to find some on eBay. If you they are industrial strength protection. My next piece of viewer mail comes to us from Raf's Retro Comics. Raf's or Raf's? Sorry, Raf, if I'm getting your name wrong, let me know. By the way, has a good YouTube channel I checked out. You might want to check out Raf's Retro Comics if you have not. For movie comic adaptations, Marvel Comics Super Special is an excellent series, although it's magazine format. Some of those issues can be a bit pricey, like the Empire Strikes Back issue, or even the Blade Runner or Labyrinth issues. Some are a bit overlooked, like Dark Crystal or Octopussy, worth looking out for. Raph, don't forget Meteor. That was another one.
Oh my
Marvel,
goodness.
Marvel Comics Super Special movie adaptation. Annie, which, I'm going to adapt a musical for comics, Richard.
Yeah, this doesn't seem to be a good. Oh, anyway.
Well, they started, there was Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Marvel Super Special that was written and produced. And this was based on the 1977 movie with Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees, based on Beatles songs. And by the time it was time to release that Marvel Super Special adaptation, the movie had flopped so hard that they did not release it. It's been released in France. So there are versions of it you can get that were released in France, but that is one Marvel Super Special movie adaptation that never made it out in the States. And if you've ever seen Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with such luminaries as Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, Alice Cooper, and George Burns as Maxwell in Maxwell's Silver Hammer, what are you waiting for? Go watch it now. It's awful.
It sounds awful.
It is like so off. It's one of those movies that you know me. I like really bad movies, like the camp value. Showgirls is my favorite movie of all time. It's so bad, it's not even entertaining on that level. So there you go. It's just inept. All right, what is your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from Atme 2040 or 240. I'm sorry. Recently, I obtained an All Star Comics number 15.
Whoop.
Not too familiar with Golden Age. I thought of getting Golden Age superhero minor key may be worth it. Is this a good route to go if getting into Golden Age? Thanks. Okay, All Star Comics 15 is the famous issue where all of the Justice League are out except for their secretary, Wonder Woman. And they're all reporting back the different missions that they're on. And Wonder Woman figures out that they're all kind of related, the different things that they're encountering. And so she takes all of the girlfriends of all of the members wearing costumes similar to their boyfriends. It's a wacky issue, but it is a key. It's a great key. It's an awesome key if you're a Wonder Woman fan or if you're just a fan of these kinds of situations. I think it's a great way to start. If you could find a copy of that for a reasonable amount of money, that's awesome. As always, and I'm sure John will also say, buy what you like. If you are interested in Wonder Woman as a character, or if you're interested in Golden Age Flash as a character, gravitate towards those kinds of books and buy those kinds of books because Golden Age is a difficult hobby to get into inexpensively. So I would target your money towards the things that you like. and stay away from books that are in bad condition. It'd be my advice. Golden Age books can be missing wraps. They can be brittle. They typically aren't worth the hassle unless it's a book that fits in that first category. It's something that you really want. It's something in your price range. It may be missing a wrap. I have a book up here that it's a 0.5 grade because it's missing a page. That's fine with me. It's my all Negro comics. Me getting that book in any other condition is pretty outside. So I accept it as it is. But no, it's a great way. I applaud your first pick and continue along with it. And it's a great hobby, a great extension of the hobby.
Me, where'd you get it? I'm
Yeah.
curious. Where'd you get an All-Star 15? And I like how, hey, should I collect Golden Age? Um, if you got the cash, yeah. And number two, are you hiring?
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, especially if you're focusing on keys. If you come across, a random 100 Superman, you may be able to get it at a reasonable amount of money, unless it's a first appearance of some character. Then it goes for astronomical amount of money.
Yeah.
So watch out for those keys. But yeah, if you come across them and you think something would be interesting for me or John, just let us know.
Yeah, really. When you find that Captain America #1, give me a call. Uh, Francis is our next person who wrote us a viewer mail, and Francis writes, movies to comics, continuing that thread. Yes, this is a niche that has a strong foundation in what I collect. Recently got 2010, the
Okay.
movie adaptation. Hook, Dark Crystal. Well, you get the idea. I think the reason I love movies to comics is that it allows me to keep following the story that the movie starts without having to wait for development limbo hell that movie studios put some franchises through. Yeah, Francis, you remind me of when I was a kid. I didn't do Star Wars. I just wasn't a Star Wars kid. I don't know
Really?
why. I liked the first movie. I mean, but I didn't go buy the comic book. I think I bought the Treasury edition and I read it and I was like, ooh, Howard Chaykin's really rushing this. I preferred Logan's Run.
Yes.
Loved Logan's Run, George Perez art.
Mhm.
So when issue 6 of Logan's Run came out, beyond the movie, New Adventures, I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, this is good. And then it was like only half the issue, and the other half featured this short story featuring this crappy Captain Marvel villain called Thanos, whatever. Um, then issue 7 came out, Tom Sutton, and it was continued. I'm like, yeah, more adventures beyond the movie. That was it. It got canceled because they came to find out they did not have the rights
Ooh.
to continue beyond the movie. That's why Logan's Run got canceled with issue 7.
Oh, that's good to know because
Yeah.
I too love Logan's Run. That was a great book. The movie was great too.
Oh yeah, Farrah Fawcett in the new U salon, which I'm overdue for a visit to the new U salon. Just watch those lasers. So yeah, nobody's mentioned Logan's Run yet. I just wanted to throw that in there.
I was going to make a comment because I also noticed that nobody mentioned Logan's Run, which is an easy book to come by.
Yeah. And obviously, we're talking about movie adaptations. We haven't talked about my favorite of all time, the 2001 A Space Odyssey Treasury Edition by Jack Kirby, which will never, question mark, be reprinted because of rights issues.
Yeah.
So if you want to see that, you're going to have to go to a convention and drop some coin on an original copy. All right. What is your last?
Find some way of storing it.
Like right there on your printer where it's sat with all my other Treasury editions forever. What is your last piece of viewer mail?
My last piece is from Zach Bro BS, I believe.
Zach Brobst?
Okay.
Like
Zach
Jeff?
Bro. Okay.
Like
I can
Pro?
see that too. Okay. I can see Zach Bro though.
Huh?
Let us know how badly we're butchering your name, Zach. You're talking about J. Scott Campbell. J. Scott is a fine artist with a unique style, but I've never seen a cover of his featuring a male character that I wanted to buy.
Referring to the Rawhide Kid miniseries J. Scott Campbell cover I showed last week.
Yeah, this made me think about J. Scott Campbell, and I did some research, and definitely his female covers sell out I'm talking about the ones that he offers on his site. They almost always sell out. They're listed as wish list, which basically means you wish you had gotten here before they sold out because you're never going to get a copy off of their website. But there are other books out there. He's got a new one coming out that's a Deadpool Wolverine cover, which is pretty unique. You got Deadpool and Wolverine on cover A wearing their costumes, and then on cover B, it's them in their underwear, and it says
Hey.
it says no trade dress. It says no dress at all. It's cute. It's a cute cover. I like the artwork. I mean, it's I definitely would have bought this if it was still available. It came out in May, and it is already sold out. So,
Oh.
not an easy one to come by. He also did a really cool Daredevil cover, I thought. Daredevil is also a great character, and this cover has Daredevil. Basically, looks like he's dropping from the top of a building, and this trade dress is he's flying by it. It's an interesting cover. It's very dynamic, which I love about it, and it's another cover that is available on his website. It's still available. If you want a copy of this, you can go to jscottcampbell.com and pick up a copy of it. But he has a couple covers out there that I think I like and would probably buy. But by far, he's known for his female covers. And that's just his bread and butter. He literally makes comics when he wants more money. He putting a pool in. All right, we're going to do a Ghost Spider comic and sell it out, all 3,500 copies in one day, and that's just his bread and butter. So anyway, thanks. I hope you find either one of those covers interesting.
Bread and butter. All right, moving on. Here is a transition to a segment we call the 25-year rule. Now, that is not a lazy transition. That is a straight ahead segue.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey,
works for me.
About the 25-year rule. It's when you go back 25 years to your youth or a time in your life where you were happy and you want to recreate it 25 years later. That's when nostalgia kicks in. We're in 1999. We're talking Archie's Weird Mysteries. This giveaway came out for retailers to use for Halloween when kids came to trick or treat in their stores. It was one of those little mini comics for Halloween that they would do in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
This was based on a then new animated series where Archie and his friends solved weird mysteries. Nothing to do with Scooby-Doo, I swear. I promise you.
I promise, Mr. License Holder, has nothing to do with it.
Mr. Hanna and Mr. Barbera, we are not ripping you off cold. This little one-shot led to an ongoing series that ran for 24 issues starting in 2000. Then the title was shortened to just Archie's Mysteries. I guess they weren't weird anymore. And it ran to issue 34, which is a nice little run for an Archie adventure title in that era. This series actually must have people that remember it fondly because it carries a little bit of a premium compared to other Archie comics around that time. Individual issues sell for up to $6 to $9 each on eBay, while a complete lot of all 34 issues sold yesterday, in fact, for a best offer of $340 or $10 an issue.
Wow.
So if you see these Archie Weird Mysteries in the bins, pick them up. I want to point out the Sabrina on the cover here. This was that era where they were trying to revitalize Sabrina and make her 12 years old and draw her in this different way. It was pre-manga Sabrina, which they did later in a manga style. Now, this reminds me, look at how different her style is compared to the Archie house style.
It's definitely...
It reminds me of Laugh Olympics when you would have Jabberjaw, who could walk and talk and speak, side by side with animals like Scooby-Doo, who could barely, restruct a sentence. What's going on?
Olympics, my goodness, I haven't heard that in a long time.
That's why you're here, to get Laugh Olympics references. Let's move on to our underrated books of the week. Richard, you are on a Matt Wagner kick.
I am. Matt Wagner, I started reading him with Mage, which is an incredible story. Not to the level of Watchmen, I don't think, but still an incredible story. It reimagines the whole Arthurian legend. Um, he did that book. He wrote it. He drew it. It's an amazing series. There's actually 3 different series. Pick it up if you can. This one is Batman Monster Men, which was a book published in 2006. It went for 6 issues. Matt did the art and the story. It takes place between the Year One saga and the Batman Who Laughs saga. So, in that period in between. And he's basically reimagining an early Batman story with Hugo Strange. And it reintroduces Julie Madison, which is one of his early love interests that hadn't been seen since 1943. His art is it's so clean and easy to follow, and you see a lot of hints of Grendel in his interpretation of the art and the story. It definitely has a Matt Wagner flavor to it. So if you like Matt's work, this is a really fun read. You can get it for a really reasonable amount of money. Raws are going between $5 and $10 on eBay. You can get the whole 6 issue run for $30. 9/8 last sold in 2022 for $43. So
Ooh, get yours
not
now.
pardon.
Get yours now.
It's yours now. But no, I like I said, I like John says, I'm on a Matt Wagner kick. I love his work. I love his method when it comes to storytelling. And if you enjoyed Mage or any other work that he's done, I think you'd enjoy this series too.
Yeah, Matt Wagner, he's still around, still plugging away. Uh you have you read Batman Grendel?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
Um my underrated book this week, not a huge shock, till I tell you why. Quasar number 14. Yes, it's yet another Quasar reference on this show. We just can't help ourselves. Um, there is a reason though for this. Quasar was just over a year old at this point and was in serious sales trouble. The writer Mark Grunwald, it was kind of his pet project. He always wrote Wendell Vaughn and Quasar into everything he did, pretty much. It was a great read, but you had art by Paul Ryan and Mike Manley. Kind of really not bad artists, just pedestrian compared to the Liefelds of the day.
Mhm.
It needed more eyeballs to survive. So since Mark was also executive editor at Marvel under Tom DeFalco, he had some pull. He was able to cash in all his favors and get a whole bunch of big name artists to do covers for this storyline that was called Journey into Mystery. So this 4 issue little mini series within a mini series had covers by Jim Lee, Mike Mignola, Steve Lytle, and Todd McFarlane, who was probably the hottest artist of the moment then in 1990. Now it worked because Quasar's sales went up. Greg Capullo came on the book and it would run for 60 issues. Let's talk about this Todd cover. It's a Todd cover. Is it a Quasar appropriate cover? You've got the stranger in the background.
Mhm.
Quasar's got some serious yellow eyebrows happening. The cape. I mean, Todd did his best. Let's be honest about Wendell's original costume. Yikes. What worked when Bill Everett designed it in the 1950s did not necessarily work in 1990. And that is why just a short year later, Quasar's costume would get not one, but 2 complete overhauls. Todd McFarlane completists are finally sniffing this book out and realizing it exists. We've had 2 CGC 9.8 sales this year, one for $292 for a Quasar book.
That's
And
nice.
a more recent one for $239, which still for a Quasar book. There is still a chance, though, for you guys in the bargain bins with this one, because I have found several copies under $5 in the last 2 years. And I've just been putting them away. There's a newsstand variant of this book, as you can see here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're next time you're at a show and there's, a dollar bin, you can go right to the Q's. It's easy to find. Not a lot of stories or not a lot of titles that begin with Q. Quasar on the Question. I think that's it. Quest Probe. That's about it. So be on the lookout for Quasar number 14. Cosmic or what?
Wow, that's nice. I mean, like you say, I think the draw here is the McFarlane cover.
No, it's the only draw, believe me. The story's great. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Quasar. But, the casual fan, I was shocked when I was doing this. I thought, I'm curious. What's GPA for a 9.8 of issue 1? $230.
That's good cheddar.
I was like, whoa. And then I looked to see what issue 60, which is the last issue, which carries a premium because it's a low print run, raw sell for about $20, $25.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 60, no slabbed sales of issue 60.
Wow.
So I'm thinking I might take my extra issue 60 and send it in somewhere. So there you go. Underrated books of the week. Richard, that wraps it up. Any last words for this week? Not any last words in general.
I just hope everyone had a good Father's Day who's a father. I had a very pleasant one. So that's really all I have to say other than everybody stay safe.